go into my questions, I want to tell you I feel a real connection to what you've been saying, because in my particular case, my grandparents on my mother's side immigrated from Russia to the United States without knowing anybody here, and I heard those stories, and hearing stories about New York and what it was like, it's just, I mean, what they went through is nothing like what you went through, but to just feel that...
No, they went through Renne.
Yes.
In Russia itself.
Right. So, with that in mind, I have a couple of questions for
Sure.
you. How have you been able to translate all the horrible experiences you went through into something so positive as to what you're doing today?
Well, I tell you, it took a while. In the beginning, when we got away from the camps, we were very bitter, losing the families, not knowing what the future brings. Very hateful. We were wondering why there isn't more revenge. So we had our problems. Anyway, then I got married a year after the Holocaust, and a year later I had a child. My daughter was born, and I remember that one day I was standing over my daughter's crib, and I was looking at this beautiful little baby, and she was smiling and gooing, and I thought to myself, how am I going to raise this child? What can I give this child with this kind of feelings, this kind of hateful, ugly feelings that I have? And somehow I talked to my husband about it, and I said to him, I'm really worried. This child needs love and happiness, and how am I going to do that? And I had a wonderful husband, and he said, "You do it. You have to do it yourself," because he was also a Holocaust survivor. And he says, "We will go through this. We will go through this." And then we came to America 3 years later, and it was a new world. People told me not to talk about the past, try to look forward. And I thought to myself, well, maybe I have to work on myself. And it took a long time before I realized that my hatred towards the Germans, do they know? Do they know I hate them? Do they know I'm angry? Do they know that I have this terrible feeling? Who is suffering? They are not suffering from it. I'm the only one that is suffering. And so I just kept talking to myself, still talking to myself.
Thank you. What were some pivotal moments during this horrible experience that made you want to continue to live, to go on?
Well, I personally think that being 20 years old, I wanted to live. I really wanted to live. And I was lucky, needless to say, because, in Auschwitz it didn't take much. You made a wrong move and somebody took out his gun and shot you. Or you, one day you couldn't get that piece of bread, or somebody stole it from you and you starved. And next day you were dead. So I was very lucky, but I definitely wanted to live.
Thank you. The last question is, during the experience again, what were the greatest acts of bravery or valor that you saw?
I would lie if I would say that there was any bravery on my side. There were people who did not too many, because there was no room for bravery, really. But there were, for example, when we were evacuated from Auschwitz, that night I had sore throat. I think I had an infection, and I had very high temperature. I was burning up. And next morning we were called for roll call to be selected to leave the camp. And I just couldn't get up from the bunk. And there was a woman next to me, an older woman with her daughter. And she ran away, and I don't know where. She came back with a blanket. Now, to steal a blanket somewhere was as dangerous as, as standing in front of a gun. And she came back with this blanket, wrapped me up in this blanket, and dragged me out for roll call. Would she have not done that, I wouldn't be here today. Because if I would have been left behind in that bunk, for sure, I would have been dead within an hour. So these are the kind of, some people did some kind of, these were braveries. I can't say that I have done any such bravery. I was lucky in many ways. In the following camp in Libau, I had a chance. Actually, a Nazi was giving me food, and my friend, my school friend, was in the infirmary, so I was taking food to her in the infirmary, and she survived. So if that's called bravery, maybe, but I don't think it's. I don't think it's much of a bravery. It was just luck on my part, and also on her part, that I had that food.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.